David Ginola is a figure that evokes contradictory emotions in the world of football. His talent on the pitch was undeniable, but his career was marked by a series of decisions and events that shaped his legacy. Not only as a footballer, but also as one of the most controversial figures in French football. Ginola began his career at modest clubs, but his rise to fame came when he signed for Paris Saint-Germain, PSG. Although this transfer catapulted him to the elite of European football, his path was fraught with obstacles, some of which he created himself. PSG was undoubtedly the springboard that launched Ginola to stardom. However, his decision to sign for the Parisian club instead of Marseille was one of the first controversial choices of his career. At that time, Olympique de Marseille was the most dominant team in France and soon after won the Champions League, a trophy that PSG has never conquered in its history. For many, this was an early indication that Ginola had a tendency to make impulsive or wrong decisions, something that would mark the rest of his career. Ginola quickly won the affection of the Parisian fans, despite their reputation for being a demanding and hard-to-please crowd. His skill on the field and charismatic style made him a local idol in no time. However, while he was winning the hearts of the fans, his relationship with some teammates was much more complicated. One of the most notable cases was his tense relationship with Georges Weah, one of the stars of PSG at the time. According to accounts from teammates, Ginola and Weah did not even shake hands off the pitch. However, that tension did not reflect on the field, where both formed a formidable duo that led PSG to achieve important titles, such as the Coupe de France and a notable European campaign that included eliminating Real Madrid. Despite his success at PSG, public perception of Ginola outside Paris was not so favorable. Many considered him arrogant, self-centered, and more interested in his public image than in football. The criticism was not only about his game but also about his life off the pitch. Ginola became a celebrity in France, appearing in television commercials and starring in advertising campaigns, which only increased envy and resentment from certain segments of the public. This fame began to eclipse his footballing talent in the minds of many fans, who saw him more as a model and media star than as a committed footballer. The incident that would mark his career and seal his fate as one of the most vilified characters in France occurred in November 1993. France needed only a draw against Bulgaria to qualify for the 1994 World Cup. With the match tied at 1 goal and in stoppage time, Ginola, instead of holding onto the ball to run down the clock, attempted a risky cross that was intercepted by a Bulgarian defender. This triggered a counterattack that culminated in a goal from Emil Kostadinov, leaving France out of the World Cup. Ginola was immediately pointed out as the culprit by coach Gérard Houllier, who accused him of betraying his team and being the murderer of French football. These words resonated throughout the country, and Ginola became the scapegoat of a nation that had placed all its hopes on the team to reach the World Cup. The magnitude of this error was amplified by public perception of Ginola. While the team's failure was not entirely his fault, his personality and status as a celebrity made him the perfect target for criticism. Many in France already looked down on him, and this mistake merely confirmed their prejudices. The incident against Bulgaria marked the end of his career with the French national team. Although he was called up for some friendly and qualifying matches after that fateful day, he never returned to being a key player in the national team. From his early days in football, Ginola was seen as a distinctive player, blessed with a natural talent for dribbling and enviable vision. The Frenchman quickly stood out at Toulon, Brest, and PSG. His ability to take on defenders, his elegant style, and his skill in connecting with forwards made him a gem of French football. He was the type of player capable of changing the course of a match with an individual play. At PSG, Ginola established himself as a star. There, he won the league title in 1994 and the Coupe de France on 2 occasions. Furthermore, he became a key figure in European competitions, excelling in the 1995 to 1996 Cup Winners' Cup campaign, where PSG reached the semi-finals. However, his individual achievements were not always recognized, as despite his impressive performance, his public image in France was marred by a mistake that would never be erased from collective memory. The mistake that marked him forever occurred on November 17, 1993. In the infamous match between France and Bulgaria in the qualifiers for the 1994 World Cup. France needed at least a draw to qualify for the World Cup in the United States. With the match tied 1-1 in the final seconds, Ginola made an impulsive decision to attempt a cross into the area instead of maintaining possession and running down the clock. The ball was intercepted, and within seconds, Bulgarian forward Emil Kostadinov scored the goal that eliminated France from the World Cup. That mistake was devastating not only for the French national team, but especially for Ginola. France's coach at the time, Gérard Houllier, publicly blamed him, describing his performance as a stab in the back to the team. The French press nicknamed him the assassin of French football. And from that moment on, Ginola was exiled from the national team. Despite his later attempts at redemption, he never competed in a major tournament with France again. Being the scapegoat for the national team's failure had a profound impact on his career and reputation, something that would haunt him for the rest of his life. Throughout his career, Ginola was known for making decisions that did not always favor his international or club trajectory. Perhaps one of the most discussed was his initial rejection of FC Barcelona in 1992, just before signing with PSG. Barcelona, under the management of Johan Cruyff, won the Champions League just a year after Ginola decided to stay in Paris. This was a move that, in retrospect, many consider a key mistake in his career, as it could have catapulted his status to that of a European legend. Subsequently, in 1995, when Barcelona again showed interest, Ginola made another unexpected decision by preferring to sign with Newcastle United instead of moving to Spain. Although Keegan and Newcastle represented an exciting project at the time, the opportunity to join a club with the prestige and infrastructure of Barcelona was something most players would not have passed up. Signing with Newcastle was undoubtedly a short-term success, as he quickly became an idol at St. James Park. However, the team collapsed in the second half of the 1995 to 1996 season, and Ginola lost the chance to win the Premier League, a trophy that could have added another layer of success to his legacy. Another missed opportunity was when, in his later years in England, Barcelona once again expressed interest in Ginola, but this time the player was no longer at his physical best or on the radar of the top European clubs. It was a moment that slipped by, leaving Ginola with a sense of what could have been had he made a different decision. Despite the ups and downs in his career, Ginola experienced a remarkable resurgence at Tottenham Hotspur, where he reached his peak as a footballer at 32 years old. For many players, this is a stage when their skills begin to decline, but for Ginola, it was quite the opposite. Under the guidance of George Graham, a manager known for his defensive approach, Ginola unexpectedly shone in an environment that did not seem tailored to him. In the 1998 to 1999 season, despite Tottenham struggling in mid-table, Ginola was a bright light in the Premier League, dazzling with his individual play and leading the team to victory in the League Cup. That season, Ginola was awarded the PFA Player of the Year and the FWA Footballer of the Year. An incredible achievement considering that his team was not competing for the league title. It was one of the few times in history that a player from a team not competing for the top spots received these awards. The most remarkable aspect of all this was his consistency on the pitch. Despite being in his 30s, Ginola remained a threat to any defense in the Premier League. His ball control, dribbling ability, and elegance on the ball not only made him one of the most attractive players to watch, but also one of the most dangerous. This period at Tottenham solidified the perception of Ginola as a world-class player who, despite not having had the best of fortunes at crucial moments in his career, still had the talent to leave a profound mark on football. In fact, his legacy as a player who reached his peak in the later years of his career is one of the most fascinating stories in 1990s football. The legacy of David Ginola is complex. On the one hand, he was a brilliant footballer, a natural talent with a playing style that delighted fans. He was a true showman on the pitch, always willing to attempt the spectacular play, whether it was an impossible dribble or a shot from outside the area. Despite this, his career was marked by decisions that, in retrospect, kept him from achieving the absolute success his skills seemed to promise. Rejecting Barcelona, being the scapegoat for France's elimination in 1993, and missing opportunities in the twilight of his career are examples of how wrong decisions can profoundly impact a player's trajectory. However, it is also undeniable that Ginola left an indelible mark on European football. In England, in particular, he is fondly remembered not only for his ability on the pitch but also for his magnetic personality off it. His capacity to balance a football career with his media image, while playing at the highest level, is something that few footballers have successfully achieved. Ultimately, Ginola was a footballer who represented the more romantic side of the sport, a man who played with joy and passion, often making decisions guided more by heart than by reason. His story serves as a warning about the power of decisions in an athlete's life, but also as a testament to how talent can shine even amid adversity. At the age of 32, Ginola demonstrated that football is not just about titles and trophies, but also about leaving a lasting impression on the hearts of fans, at club level. However, Ginola continued to shine. At PSG, he led the team to one of its most successful periods, including another league title and a historic campaign in the Champions League. During that time, he became known in Spain as El Magnifico, following his performances in European competitions. Despite his success at PSG, the stigma of being the assassin of French football haunted him. After several seasons in Paris, Ginola decided to seek new horizons and, at the age of 28, came close to signing for FC Barcelona, a move that would have transformed his career. However, the famous Bosman ruling, which forever changed the rules of football transfers in Europe, prevented Barca from signing more foreign players, and Ginola was left without his much-coveted move to one of the giants of world football. Instead of remaining in France, Ginola made a surprising decision. He moved to England to join Newcastle United, turning down an offer from Arsenal. Although many considered this a strange choice, Ginola explained that his father was a great admirer of Newcastle's manager, Kevin Keegan, and that influenced his decision. This signing for Newcastle turned out to be an immediate success. Ginola dazzled in the Premier League, winning the affection of fans and being named Player of the Month in his first month in England. Newcastle, with Ginola as one of its main stars, led the league for much of the season, although they ultimately lost the title to Manchester United. Despite his success in England, Ginola could not escape the shadow of the incident with the French national team. Barcelona, which had tried to sign him several times, finally lost interest, and Ginola was forced to continue his career in England. He later moved to Tottenham Hotspur, where he had one of the best seasons of his career. Although the team was not competitive in the league, Ginola was named Player of the Year by both the PFA and the FWA, an impressive feat considering he was playing for a mid-table team. His time in England was, without a doubt, a kind of renaissance for Ginola. There, he found the recognition and appreciation that had so long been lacking in France. However, as he grew older, opportunities at big clubs began to dwindle. After brief stints at Aston Villa and Everton, Ginola decided to hang up his boots at 35, closing a career that, although filled with ups and downs, established him as one of the most memorable figures in 1990s football. Ginola was not only an exceptional footballer but also one of the first truly media-savvy stars of the game. At a time when football was beginning to globalize and become a massive spectacle, his charisma and physical appeal made him an icon off the pitch. However, this status also proved to be his downfall in many ways, as many fans and journalists struggled to separate his life off the pitch from his performance as a player. Despite it all, David Ginola left an indelible mark on football history, and although his career was marked by controversy, his talent and passion for the game will always be remembered. That's all for today. Thank you for watching our video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for our next exciting content about the universe of sport. If you have any questions or suggestions, please leave them in the comments. See you next time.